I would like to take you on a strange journey.
These are just unexplained phenomena.
Supernatural tales of the paranormal and otherworldly.
I want to see the ghosts.
You're a little bit excited and it's creeping me out, man.
Oh, that's so weird.
I'm sure you'll find this amusing, but I'm afraid of the dark.
Apparently you like a little edge.
And welcome to the Dark Edge Podcast, an Evening Edge podcast. My name is Todd Hollst. I host the Evening Edge on WHIO Radio. And last year, I was introduced to Kayla Simonton. She is a local ghost hunter. She's with Dayton Haunted Explorers. And she listens to my radio show. And she called me and she said, hey, I'm a ghost hunter. Would you be interested in maybe going ghost hunting? And I thought, well, yeah, I've always wanted to do that. I've loved the ghost hunting shows. Candidly, I'm a bit of a skeptic. You know, I'd never gone and had that experience before. I'd never had a paranormal experience on my own, though I have lived in old houses and have heard noises, but I always just sort of equated that to the house being very old. So when I had this opportunity to go with Kayla, I thought, well, this ought to be great. So, and we'll talk about that experience at some point, I promise you. But I thought that we would just sort of get to know everybody on this podcast. So I've got Kayla Simonton here and Tim Debusk. He is the paranormal hunter. And we're all from Dayton, Ohio.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Yeah. So Kayla, why don't you tell me a little bit about your experience, what got you into it, and what you do with Dayton Haunted Explorers.
Okay, so my name's Kayla. I'm the leader and founder of Dayton Haunted Explorers. I bring people like Todd out and teach them how to investigate the paranormal. Maybe they don't have the equipment or know where to even begin. So that's what I enjoy doing. That's what I do almost every weekend. So
wow.
Yeah, I'm busy.
Yeah.
But I love what I do, and like people that can leave and have a good experience like you did. I mean, you know, that's what makes it worth it for me to give people that chance. So
how did you get involved with this? I mean, was this an experience you had from a young age, or it was just
my whole life? I've always been interested in it. I think I've had things I couldn't ever explain. I always had like premonition dreams and stuff like this. And the older I got, the more my psychic ability also increased. So I also have that. And I guess really just the more I went out and did it, the more I loved it. And I just kept doing it.
Yeah.
I can't stop.
I gotcha. Now, Tim, how did you get into this?
Ever since I was a kid, I would go into abandoned buildings and look for, odd and ends pieces like Indiana Jones kind of stuff.
Okay, yeah.
And then older I got.
Treasures.
Yes.
See, I don't have a cool story like that.
Giving it all to me like that. So, yeah. So, but then years later, in my 20s, I started getting into some paranormal stuff because I really did not believe, to be honest with you.
Okay.
And I wanted to find out for myself. So I started Dayton Paranormal Hunters and got a group of friends together. We started going to different people's homes, didn't charge. 99% of stuff we could debunk, a furnace or a light switch, whatever. But there was always that 1-2% that I couldn't figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
And when everybody else decided to walk away, I just kept going, changed everything from Dayton Paranormal Hunters to the Paranormal Hunter. And went on from there, started going to people's homes that wanted some help. Sometimes it was kind of, it was hard to see people being so sad in their own homes.
Right.
And you go and you find out it was something silly, and they'd be so happy because they were ready to sell their house. And
that must be interesting because I've seen that on a lot of those shows where these teams will go in and these parents of these children are at their wits' end because the kids are just terribly frightened and they can't understand. They don't know what it is. Yeah. I can completely see somebody saying, "We're out of here."
And
we're out of here.
And it was, especially there was a house that I finally got to do, in the Dayton area. I won't say exactly where, but for me, it set everything in motion because now it's basically like, you want to know, now you know.
Right.
And I can't do a lot that Kayla does, but I get a smell. Once the smell comes, it's coming, and it's from there on I got just reaction. But yeah, I love doing it. I like helping people out, and like I said, 90% of the time it's nothing. And now they feel comfortable in their house again because that's your safe space.
Right.
If you don't have a safe space, you're in trouble. And it's so cool. But it is sometimes I feel it's heavy because sometimes there is things and you don't really know how to approach them. It takes a little bit to get used to.
Right.
But yeah, I love it. The more the merrier.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I mean, these two folks are, like I said, they're big time ghost hunters. But I have interest in other paranormal activity as well and phenomenon. One of my biggest, it's my sweet spot, is Sasquatch and the whole Bigfoot thing.
Yes, sir.
And I've had people on my radio show talk about it. I've had guests on. I do stories. And I am a skeptic. I've never had an encounter. I've heard of many people and have talked to people who have. And I'm not suggesting that they're lying or anything like that. But until I see it with my own eyes, I'm a real skeptic. And it's the same with aliens or whatever else is out there. I mean, we have amazing imaginations and creativity.
Definitely.
And we can certainly sort of see something and ascribe one idea to it when it's perfectly explainable.
He's the ultimate king of hide and seek.
Yes, that's right. He is. So those are the kinds of things that we're going to talk about on the Dark Edge podcast. And if you're listening to this, you've probably found us on social media. But we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok. I don't know if we're on Twitter. I can't remember what I set up, but I do think we either have or going to have a YouTube channel, and of course, Dayton Haunted Explorers are online, as is the Paranormal Hunter. Tim, you're on all of them, so you'll be able to find us, and we hope that you will listen to our podcast. And by all means, you can also participate. Lots of times when we record this podcast, we do it at the studios of WHIO in Dayton, Ohio. We have the ability to take phone calls. But if you also maybe find a story that you'd like us to talk about, something in the news, or just something that you come across, or maybe you hear something on Coast to Coast AM, and you just want to get our take on it, by all means, send it our way. And you can connect with us on social media, and we'll be glad to talk. So thanks for listening, and hope you listen to our first podcast coming up very soon.